Okay. So, because I'm only limited to 15 minutes, I'm gonna get right to the point. Okay, first exercise. First of all, can you see my feet? In yoga, this pose is the mountain pose, or Tadasana, and it'll help strengthen your legs and your hips and your balance and your posture. First exercise, you're not going to pull against your head with your hands. You can if you just want to work your neck. You can do one hand at a time. Instead, you're going to clamp your head with your forearms like this. So I'm not using my hands, I'm using my inward pressure with my forearms. Inhale on the way up. Exhale on the way down. So that's a good exercise for your neck, but if you just want to work your neck, you're better off just using one hand at a time, getting a bit more range of motion. When you do it this way, it's more for these muscles on your ribs here, the serratus or intercostals. I don't remember what all the muscles are called anymore, but that's those muscles help you to breathe, or they're what you breathe with. So the stronger they get, the stronger your lungs can be. You need to bring those muscles back to life, or you're going to have trouble breathing later on. Next, really simple, march in place. So don't try and lift your knees up to your chest so much as just bring your feet straight up to your hips. When that's too easy for you, start up your hands like this. When that gets too easy, you can go diagonal like this. You can speed it up. You can do several minutes of that. Don't neglect that exercise. It will make your legs feel stronger. You'll feel lighter and more energetic. Okay, what's next? So this is like a bicep curl. You put your hand on your wrist, tight fist, and just do a bicep curl. Okay, really easy. Don't try to get fancy with different hand positions. Just go from your wrist. That's the best way to do it. Because you're using your other arm as the resistance, it's also going to work on your triceps and your forearms and your shoulders. Next, you can go turn your hand over. It's the same thing. With this one, you can also do it as a tricep push down if you want a little bit more on your triceps. So those are all really basic. You don't need any equipment, you don't need any weights, you definitely don't need a gym. What's next? Okay. Your feet together, and your wrists to the side of your head. Tight fists on both sides. Inhale and reach down. That's going to give you some isometric work on your neck and your biceps, but mostly it's going to stretch this whole area along your side here. If you want to build up these obliques, your love handle area, without any weights, you can just lift your legs up to the side, tense your quad muscles, inhale and bring your legs up. That'll build up these muscles right here. Okay, this one, clasp your hands together and try to pull pull them apart, but don't let them come apart. And then bring them down to your head. So you want outward pressure with your hands and downward pressure against your head. Now just make a circle. Switch your hands, go the other way. Outward pressure with your hands, and downward pressure against your head. The tension created by that position and the isometric contraction is going to make a big difference. That whole circle that you make, you're going to feel it in all these muscles around your waist, and it's going to strengthen your spine and your posture, which is also going to help with your breathing. I was going to say something else about that. I can't remember now. Okay. Breathing exercises. First, as you exhale, reach across your chest like this. Don't just cross your arms, but reach. Okay, reach this way and reach this way. The harder you reach, the harder your chest muscles are going to contract, and that's where you get the benefit from. All these breathing exercises are important because when you can't breathe, you're very close to being dead. Another breathing exercise. This time you're going to inhale, bring your hands back to your ribs. When you get back here, try and pinch your elbows together. Try and pinch your elbows together like a nutcracker that's going to crack a walnut. Deep breath. Try to do as much of your breathing as possible in and out through your nose. If you have to breathe through your mouth, then breathe through your mouth, but try and use your nose as much as possible. You are a civilized human being. If you want a bit more intensity on that, you can make tight fists as you inhale. You might feel you can breathe a bit deeper that way. The main thing is to stretch this whole front of your body, your chest, your ribs, your solar plexus, your diaphragm. You want that all to stretch so you can get used to taking in a lot of air, breathing deeply. You'll eventually be able to just, as a habit, breathe more deeply and slowly. That's going to help with your mental and your emotional health as much as your physical health. They're all tied together. Okay, next. Hands together like this, and outward pressure. Okay, you're going to pull them apart. Inhale as you swing them upward, and from over your head you're going to push them in together, push them towards each other, and exhale on the way down. Inhale on the way up, pull your hands apart. Exhale on the way down, push your hands together. That's also going to build all the muscles throughout your arms and your torso, and it's going to make breathing more comfortable for you. The whole point of all of this is to make your body more comfortable for you to live in. You don't need to be rolling over cars or pulling trucks, but you do need to be strong. You can't just go through life weak or you just become another statistic. You don't want to have 2 or more comorbidities, do you? Okay, last one. This is kind of a tricep exercise, also for your shoulders, your grip. So your hands together above your head and outward pressure, straighten your arms. Inhale while you do it. Those type of exercises are also going to stretch your shoulder blades, your scapula. It's all going to help you to breathe deeper. All right, what are we at? 11 minutes? I got a few more minutes. These are very ancient techniques. They're this is how people used to strength train before they had gyms full of barbells and hammer strength machines. And these methods are just as good now as they always were. You don't need any of that stuff. And they predate the steroid era. If you want really the best strength training methods and advice, look back into the stuff that was written in before the 1950s. The 1920s had a lot of good stuff. And some of those guys set records that haven't been broken and even now. So they were all really strong. You're probably not going to end up looking like Ronnie Coleman from this, but you don't need to. And later on, you know, after the 60s and the 70s, by the 1980s, almost all strength training material was written by and for steroid users. So it's also useless to you unless you're on steroids, which you shouldn't be. Let's see, anything else useful? The exercises where you're clamping your hands like this, they're really going to build your fingers and your grip. When you're new to them, you're going to feel it a lot. You're going to feel the effect in your forearms. Sets and reps are up to you. I didn't do too many reps of any of these exercises today, but you can set a timer for anywhere from 1 minute to 5 minutes and just don't even count the reps. Just keep going. I suggest in the beginning doing lower reps. So if you do, 6 or 7 reps every day, 6 days a week, the consistency is what's going to give you your results. And the lower reps, you're not going to get the same delayed onset muscle soreness the next day. You're not going to be as sore the next day. But because you're using lower reps, you're going to be able to, you're going to learn how to generate more tension. So something like a curl like this, you're going to put more force into it because you're not doing as many. That might not happen right away, but after a while, you can get superhumanly strong training like this. You don't need kettlebells and dumbbells and barbells or machines. It's nice to have that stuff, but you absolutely don't need it. 1340. I can't really think of anything else right now. If there's any questions, just ask. And that was a really simple workout. You don't even have to lay down on the floor for it. So any of you can get off the couch and do this. And I'll try and upload some more advanced techniques later on. All right, thank you. Excellent. All right, a little bit more advanced today. Nothing too complicated though. First things first, you remember this exercise. You pull your hands apart and then push them together. Typically when I use that exercise in my own workouts, I like to use this. This was at one time a sledgehammer handle, but I like to pull outward against this and then push in on it. It's just as effective to use your hands. I just like to use that. You can use anything. You can use a broom or a hockey stick. It doesn't matter. You can just use your hands. It's fine. Okay, so we'll move on to some more intermediate, I guess you'd say, exercises. First, I'm going to do bridge. I'm not going to do a wrestler's bridge like you've probably or maybe seen me do before. I'm just going to do a basic shoulder bridge, and this is going to strengthen what meatheads who like to sound smart call the posterior chain. Your hamstrings, your glutes, your lower back. It's especially good if you do a lot of sitting. I'm a forklift driver, so I sit all day. It's really simple. I'll demonstrate a few of them. You'll probably find you can do a lot of those. It's pretty easy. There's nothing magic about that hand position. I just do that to keep the sun out of my eyes. You can do whatever you want with your hands. Okay, next, vacuum. So this will help with it'll reduce your waistline somewhat, and it's good for your digestion and your breathing. Your hands on your knees, tuck your chin like this, and exhale as much air as you possibly can. Once you've exhaled all of your air, kind of lock the air at your throat so you don't take any in, and bring your ribs outward and forward, and let your stomach muscles relax. You're not tensing them yet. And just let them kind of deflate, like cave in on themselves. I don't know, I'm not really wording that properly, but you can figure it out. And then from there, you're gonna bear down so that they tense themselves. So I'll show you how that works. If you get really good at this, you can tense one side at a time. I've done it before, but I haven't done it in a long time, so I'll try it. It may or may not work. Anyway, that's a very good exercise for your stomach and for your intestines, and also for your lungs. Okay, here's another one. I'm going to do a basic leg raise. It's another exercise for your midsection. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross my ankles. And doing that, it adds a little bit of resistance, and it also protects your lower back, because the tension it creates has a similar effect to it's that sit-up that Pavel Tsatsouline used to push, the Yanda sit-up, or Janda sit-up, I think it's pronounced Yanda. Whatever, just watch how I do it and try it yourself, and you'll feel exactly what I'm talking about. If leg raises ever hurt your back, this is how you solve that. So give those a try, and leg raises will never hurt your back again. After that, I usually don't get up in between, but when I'm done with those, I do an isometric, where, just pretend my hands are my feet right now, I force them against each other, outward, for like the length of one breath or so. Excuse me. And it's got a pretty decent effect on your hips and your midsection. So I don't know if you'll really be able to get much out of watching me do it, but I'll demonstrate a few anyway. Just kind of force your feet outward against each other for the length of one inhalation. It's fine. You'll feel for yourself what the results of that are. Okay, now grab one thumb, stick your thumb out and grab it with your other hand. Inhale and pull yourself to one side. I forgot to mention that you're pulling as if you're trying to pull your hands apart. Pull against your thumb. So you'll feel that along your sides and in your lats and your scapula and your upper back. All of that, it strengthens it, it loosens it up, and it'll help you to breathe more comfortably over the long run. Okay, now for your shoulders and also for your upper back, self-resistance exercise for your deltoids. Your hand on your elbow and just lift up. I like to inhale as I'm raising my arm, and range of motion is basically until my forearm touches my forehead. I don't know if you can see that. And you can also do it from your wrist, but I don't know, it just feels better going from your elbow. It can sometimes be a little bit uncomfortable on your tendons when you do it from your wrist. You eliminate that by just going from your elbow. And that's a great exercise for your entire deltoid. Okay, you might like this one too. Basic squat, heels together, squat down, nice and easy on your knees. At the bottom here, just reach down to one side and touch the ground. Inhale on the way up. As you get better at it, you can reach farther. Eventually you can put your hands behind your head. Exhale on the way down, inhale on the way up. That'll help you to go slower and have a bit more control over the movement, and develop a bit more control over your breathing as well. And it'll get you started off on using one leg more than the other. So there's more emphasis on one leg than the other on your way up, and you get a little more benefit than just a basic up and down squat with both legs. If you're not ready for it, then just squat with both feet for now, doesn't matter. Okay, now bring your hands over your head and make really tight fists. As you make your feet together, as you're making a fist, inhale as deep as you can. That's going to tighten down to your armpits. It's not the whole exercise just yet, but the hyperradiation will cause your upper back to tense, and then you're going to reach down and touch the ground with your knuckles. So deep breath as you're squeezing your hands. Reach down and touch the ground with your knuckles, and then exhale and stand back up. And the tension that creates adds a bit more of an element to that exercise than just a basic floppy kind of toe touch. Okay, the last exercise for today, we'll do a leg raise where I'm going to touch the ground behind my head with my feet. And that's going to develop some flexibility and strength in your entire midsection. Before you bring your feet over, tuck your chin into your chest. Just lift your head up, and that is going to protect your lower back in this exercise. And you can cross your ankles for that too and get the same effect as the other leg raise. Okay, so those are only slightly more advanced than what I showed you before, but they're a next step anyway. And I'll move on to some slightly more advanced stuff next time. All this stuff is really easy. All you have to do is do it. It's way better than sitting on the couch and I don't know, waiting for a doctor to make you healthy, because it's up to you. It's not up to a doctor or the government or whatever. If you want to be healthy, then you need to be healthy. Don't sit around being scared of TV show viruses and whatnot. Okay, thanks for watching. You know what? I forgot the last exercise. Basic push-up. There's a few different ways to do push-ups. If you're really out of shape, then I mean, just do a simple push-up. But your basic push-up, if you want to bang out a lot of reps, don't lock your elbow out. Keep a slight bend in your elbow at the top. Tuck your elbows into your body, and kind of let your shoulders and your triceps do the work, and you're going to feel it in your pec muscles anyway. So I'll just bang out a few here. So that's your basic simple push-up. If you want to move on from there, a little bit like the squat, we're going to slow it down. Exhale on the way down, inhale on the way up, just so you got maintain a bit more control over the movement and over your breath. And when you get to the bottom, lean over to one side and push up with emphasis on one side more than the other. It's way simpler than it sounds. And when you get good at that one, you can eventually do it with one hand behind your back. You're probably not going to be able to keep your body absolutely flat doing this. There will be some lean to one side or the other. I wouldn't worry too much about that. I mean, you're not doing this for the Cirque du Soleil, you're just trying to get in shape. Okay, so that should have been the last exercise for the intermediate workout, but I forgot to do it, sorry. Okay, thanks. Okay, so if you've put any effort into these exercises that I've shown you so far, then you're already starting to feel really comfortable in your own body. Your organs are aligned properly and you're able to take comfortable, really deep breaths. Your shoulders and your back probably feel better than they have in years. So let's move on to some more advanced stuff. These exercises aren't going to look advanced, they're going to look really easy, but if you put some real effort into them, you're going to find that they're very taxing, especially on your nervous system. And they're really good for you. They're going to build up your posture and just your mind-body connection, which is very important. Your body is a temple and you're allowed to explore every room of that temple, so you absolutely should. Okay, so first you take a deep breath, make tight fists, and bring your arms back as far as they'll go. Like, try to touch your fists together. You're not going to come even close, but make that effort. And don't flex any of your muscles in your upper back. Just the only muscles you're consciously tensing are your fists, and the hyperradiation is going to do its own work. So, feet together. Okay, really tight fists. And take a deep breath, and then make a few attempts to like really bring your fists together. Right, you're going to get an isometric contraction across your upper back, and a really nice stretch in your ribs. Okay, next. That's a lot easier than it might look, and it's really good for your lower back. It's, for obvious reasons, it's most comfortable to do on a bed, but I don't have a bed out here. Just take a deep breath, lift your head and your legs up as high as they'll go, and hold it for a few seconds. Okay, next is a basic back bridge. So Bring your feet as close to your hips as they'll go. Use your hands for support and roll up on your head. If you can only make it to the top of your head, that's fine. If you can go farther, that's even better. Aim your chest forward and your hips up. If you can only go about this far, that's fine. So that exercise is going to build all the muscles along the back side of your body and your nervous system really well. So you only have to hold it for a few breaths, and you only have to do a few of them. It's a really good exercise. Okay, next I'm going to continue with the muscles on our neck. Look to one side, put your hand on your forehead like this, and use your hand as resistance. Just go nice and slow and don't worry about the negative. It's not important. And that's gonna build these muscles on the side of your neck. Okay. Now, this next exercise is not really gonna build muscle so much as it's gonna help you to get in touch with muscles that you maybe don't really know so well. So, a lot like if you were just flexing your arm, you're going to bring your foot up like this, whoops, and point your toe as hard as you can. Okay, to both legs. So, don't think so much about tensing your hamstrings as just bringing your lower leg up as tight as it'll go and pointing your foot. It doesn't take much practice, and if you do it right, your hamstrings are going to contract really hard on their own, and that's going to feel really good after a while. It might make you really sore at first, but that doesn't last. Okay, next, get into kind of a half-assed karate stance. Take a deep breath and bring your arms up in a circle, ending with your hands on your hips. And as you hold that breath, try and bring your elbows together. Switch the stance. The whole front of your body is going to stretch here, your ribs and your sternum, and you're going to take in a lot of air. It's going to feel great. What's next? Okay, kind of like, you remember this exercise. You're not bringing your knee up to your chest. You're just bringing your foot straight up off the ground. Just like if you were walking. You don't walk by bringing your knee up. You just bring your feet up. It's going to put your hips in a more natural position, and it's not going to jar your back. Bring your foot straight up. Now, straighten your leg and point your toe really hard. And bring your leg down. Same thing on the other side. Your foot straight up to your hip. Point your toe forward, and then lower it to the ground. It looks really easy, and it is, but it's going to really help with your balance and your posture, and just how in touch you are mentally with your legs and your feet. Okay, now interlock your fingers like this. Bring your hands straight out in front, and try and pull them apart, but don't let go with your fingers, and take a deep breath as you do so. And this is going to give you an isometric exercise for your grip, for all these muscles along this side of your arm, the back of your shoulders, your rhomboids, and it's a good deep breathing exercise. As your shoulder blades become more loosened up, your breathing is going to get really more comfortable, and your posture is going to feel better. Your shoulders are not going to ache all the time. These exercises look simple, but they're very valuable. Okay, now have your hands behind your back, straighten your elbows, and then aim your hands down as you take a deep breath. If your hands are slippery because you're sweating or whatever, you can just interlock your fingers again like this. So your shoulders are going to roll backwards. It's going to stretch your sternum here, so you can bring in more oxygen when you want. Okay, now, it's like the bodybuilders. We do a lat spread like this. So inward pressure against your hips, and as you roll your elbows forward, that pressure is constantly going straight from your knuckles into your body. So when your elbows are forward, you're pressing into your body in the opposite direction as your elbows. And if you just relax your shoulder blades, they'll spread out on their own. They might not go very far at first, but you'll get it before too long. Take a deep breath as you do it, and your rib cage is really going to swell. With practice, you can do one at a time. It's really not that hard. Eventually you can do it with no hands. The benefit is in the stretch that it gives your rib cage. And I mean, it is a good shoulder exercise as well. Alright. Last is just a basic sit-up. Everybody knows how to do sit-ups. Point your toes and just sit up. Do whatever you want with your hands. If you do those nice and slow, inhale on the way up and exhale on the way down, you don't have to do as many of them as you think. I think that's it for now. I don't think I forgot anything. Thank you.